Okay, so this is an instructional video for how to make this DIY chipboard caliper. To start, we need an 8x10 piece of chipboard. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure I've got two square edges on my piece of chipboard here. So I'm going to use the cutting mat to do that. Line the bottom edge up here with my line, and then I'm going to cut here using the markings on the cutting board so I know that I've got this edge and this edge perpendicular. And you can see that multiple passes with the knife helps to get a clean cut. I'm also going to take this opportunity and sharpen my blade so that I've got a nice sharp blade going forward here. Okay, so the first things I need to do, I need to cut out my pieces. So I need two pieces in this L shape, 1.5 inches wide by 7.5 inches this way and 4 inches this way. So I need two of those. So I'm going to start by getting that width. Up here. Draw that line. Up here. And what I'm shooting for here is one L piece this way, one L piece this way. So I just need to get that same width marked across the bottom here. And as I said here, this dimension should be 4 inches. So, because I've got an 8x10 piece here, I know that I've got just enough material to go across the bottom here. So, I can mark 4 inches here, 4 inches here. And then this dimension is, as I said, 7.5 inches. So on the long legs of the L, I can transfer that dimension as well. Okay, so now I've got my two L pieces laid out here. I can cut them out. You don't have to press too hard. If you make a few passes, each pass will cut through a little more deeply. Remember, on this cut I want to stop here. And often with inside corners I have to come in here and just finish off the cut. So that piece. Okay. Then I can cut these two halves apart and then cut them to the right length as well. Okay. So there's my two L pieces. Set those off to the side here for a minute. And the next pieces I need are 4 strips that are half an inch wide. So I'm going to mark out across the top here, half inch, half inch, half inch, half inch, and then towards the other end, half inch, half inch, half inch, half inch. And then I'm just going to cut those strips out. No need to draw a pencil line. You just line up the marks with the straight edge and cut. So, got all my pieces cut. I can start assembling. First thing I need to do is take one of these 1/2 inch strips and glue it across the L-shaped piece along its long leg on the inside edge there. So, going to get some glue here. And want to be sure to spread the glue out before I apply it. And you don't want too much glue or else it'll take too long to dry. That's a pretty good amount. And then I'm going to just line up the inside edge of the L with that piece. You can see it's hanging off the end on both sides. That's fine. Just going to press this down so I get a nice good glue bond there. Make sure it doesn't shift on me. And then once I'm happy with the placement, I'm just going to trim these ends off. I'm going to sharpen that knife again. Okay. Then I want to lay a second strip down here without glue to serve as a spacer, and then glue a second strip right below that spacer strip. So I'm going to leave that one without glue and take this one, and then with that spacer nice and snug against the piece I glued down first, I'm going to glue this piece down right below it. And again, you can see how it's hanging off both ends. That's fine. Just going to make sure it's nice and adhered all along the length there. And just make sure that you haven't inadvertently glued that center strip on. Pull it out. And again, trim the edges off. Okay. And then again, just make sure that this is still a decent fit. So now with that spacer back in its position there, what we're going to do is apply glue here and then glue the second half of the L in place on top of that, so that this middle strip is glued to this piece instead of this piece. Okay, again, I want to spread the glue out, but I want to be careful not to get any glue on the other two pieces, or else I'll glue my whole thing together. So just glue along that middle strip. And then I'm going to place this piece on top and line the ends up with the ends of the other L, and the inside edge up with the inside edge of the other L as well. Again, press down so I get a decent glue joint, and then I should be able to carefully lift this piece out, and now that center strip is glued to this L and not the first part. So again, I'm just going to try to make sure that that's on there good and trim the ends off. So there's the two halves. I should be able to snap them back together here. Okay, so that's the basic form. So we're close. Last thing I want to do is use this final strip of 1/2 inch material that I cut to add a couple of tongs on each end of the caliper here so that I can reach around larger objects. So I'm going to set those off to the side for a second, and I'm going to cut 2 4-inch pieces. And again. Okay. So these I will glue here, one on each L. And also what I'll do here is I'm just going to give these a little bit of a of a taper so that I can reach this tool into tighter spaces if I need to. So that's the shape I'm going for. And then I'll just use that first piece that I cut as sort of a template for the second piece. Okay. So I'm going to glue this one on first. The piece with the 2 strips down here, I can come right up to the edge of that strip right there as I glue this one on. I'm just going to hold this in place and make a little mark here with my pencil so that I know I don't have to put any glue above that line. And just glue this in place. Make sure that it's flush. And then I'll repeat for this half, although I want to make sure I don't glue this all the way down here because I need that other strip to run in that space. So I'm just going to glue it down to that spot. So again, I'm going to mark where I need some glue. I want to. And then make sure I put that piece and line up. And then just to make sure that everything's square here, I'm going to bring these to the fully closed position and make sure that those 2 tongs meet. I've got a little bit of a gap, so before the glue totally dries, I'm just going to try to adjust that. Okay. So that looks pretty good. There you have it. If yours is a little bit tight like this one, you can try to shave just a little bit off of the center track here. So I'm just shaving ever so small a bit of material off of that center track, and slides much more easily now. And there you go.